Today we are looking at some work by Akim Monet. He is a Swiss national with a US citizenship. He's born in 1968 and lives in Berlin. He works with photography, and we are looking here at one of his works that he has produced in 2006. Typically for his work is that he takes the negative and prints it as a positive. When you work actually with the negative, is the color combination which makes it kind of like surreal and surrealistic. So it changes all, and particularly interesting as well is how actually the blue, which actually usually signifies a depth, like in the sky or also in the sea, that it really adds on to the architecture and how it actually drives the view up actually into infinity, while actually on the bottom half we have the earthy color that actually gives ground. But I think it's also interesting to see that using the negative, the three-dimensionality you usually can read in photography gets much more lost, and the eye really actually jumps between the two, between the two dimensions, so the two-dimensionality of the photography and actually the three-dimensionality of the work.
No, and also it takes the eye some time to get used to what's happening, because it looks almost flat, but yet you know that it's a three-dimensional form in front of you.
In Islamic architecture, one very often has that one cuts the corner and doubles the corner, so from a square you get to an octagonal shape. So we see that this one is what is happening, and this space here is like the stalagmite, which we see in the Islamic architecture as well, but to the eye it all of a sudden becomes actually flat, despite the fact it's actually a very three-dimensional pattern. And so I think that's a very, very interesting point. Also how here the surface is actually dissolved very sculpturally, while here on the next surfaces and down here it's very two-dimensional.
Exactly what you were saying about it's almost like earth and the heavens, and in this piece in particular, his series, the exhibition is titled Seeking Al-Tawhid in Andalucia, which is Tawhid is the oneness of God, and in this case you do get that feeling of almost there's this sense of spirituality.
Wouldn't you be very interested, A, in knowing the location, and B, if there is a link towards the seeking oneness of God? To call it untitled gives that then more the freedom actually to find your own way, and not actually to give a path in which direction it should go. So I mean, those 2 points about not giving the location for photography, which is very highly location bound, and then in connection with seeking the oneness of God, also not giving a title, so not giving direction. I think those 2 points are very interesting.
Yes. It's almost like he's saying that the physical location of the place is irrelevant. If you are seeking God, if you are, you can find that everywhere. And for him, it's not important whether this is a mosque or a place where people go to study, or it's a palace. It doesn't matter.